Executive Director of Teaching and Learning with Selma City Schools. Thank you all so much for joining us. We really appreciate you being here tonight. Some of my team, some team members and I, we're going to share some of the attendance procedures as well as some of the grading procedures that we think will be beneficial to our families to know. And if you have any questions throughout this presentation, please place your questions in the chat and we will respond throughout. Thank you. The mission, vision, and core values of Selma City Schools. The mission of Selma City School District is to provide a safe and supportive teaching and learning environment through the collaboration and partnerships of parents and the community. The vision is simple, is for Selma City Schools to become a documented school district where students are empowered to achieve excellence throughout life. Our motto is one team, one voice, committed to excellence, and our core values are here on the right side. They're simple, but very impactful to the work that we do in Selma City Schools. They are students first, excellence, teamwork, joy, integrity, and excellence. Thank you all again for joining us.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to share with you some research as it pertains to attendance and why it's important for our scholars to attend class daily. According to research, poor attendance can influence whether children read proficiently by the end of third grade or be held back. By sixth grade, chronic absence becomes a leading indicator that student will drop out of high school. Research shows that missing 10% of the school, or about 18 days in most school districts, negatively affects a student's academic performance. That's just only 2 days a month, and that's known as chronic absence. When students improve their attendance rates, they improve their academic prospects and their chances for graduating. I'm also going to share with you Selma City Schools virtual learning attendance procedure. State law mandates that students enrolled in virtual learning are considered present daily and counted in the system's ADM based on law. In other words, participation in educational processes are a must. During virtual learning, attendance is determined by a scholar's online interaction with the teacher and other classmates. So the student must log in, stay in, and interact with the teacher in order to be counted present for that day. During remote learning, attendance is determined by scholars logging in to a learning management system, such as Schoology or Google Classroom, or a program to complete assignments, or completing teacher-supported learning packets. The setup for remote learning days varies from school to school. I want to make a special note that all scholars must attend and actively participate in all assigned instructional proceedings.
Good evening. And I know that there's been a big lot of talk about the difference between excused and unexcused absences during this time of virtual learning. And just a reminder, our excused absences will fall into the following categories: an illness that the parent has determined endangers the student health, or the doctor has determined, maybe if the students have been deemed ill by the school nurse on any given day. Death of an immediate family member is an excused absence. However, we do require proper documentation, such as an obituary for that. Anytime someone is in legal quarantine, students who are receiving health care, such as hospitalization, is an excused absence. Inclement weather that would be dangerous to the life and the health of a child as determined by the superintendent. Any legal requirements that come up for this student. Mostly this applies to a court situation unless it is a mandated visit to the doctor or to an agency of some sort. Military deployment date of a student's parents, and of course we would require proper documentation to follow along with that, and any emergency condition as determined by the superintendent. An unexcused absence is where a lot of our scholars get into problems. An unexcused absence is any absence that's not listed in the excused category over to your left. And it is any time that students are off school grounds, unapproved, or have an unknown location on a day that they are scheduled to attend school. Sometimes we have families who like to schedule a vacation a day or two before we get our break. Those are considered unexcused absences. Any student who's scheduled to be in class but are not in attendance, and a student not attending for unknown reasons, although they are scheduled to be there. One of the most important things that you can do for your scholars is to remember to send an excuse within the 3-day period following the absence. If we do not have the excuse within the 3-day period, the absence will be marked as unexcused. Excuses right now can be provided via text, email, or whatever your student's learning platform is. Simply a phone call to the school to leave a message with the secretary works as well. Now, we talked about chronic absenteeism a minute ago during the research, and defined chronic absence is missing 10% of the school days within any one academic year for any reason. Chronic absence is different than truancy. Truancy only counts your unexcused absences and the average daily attendance, which reports the average number of students who attend school each day. Chronic absenteeism is excused or unexcused absence. And generally, in most districts, it's 18 or more days of missing school for any reason. And the research showed that equals out to be about 2 days per month. So absence add up quickly, and chronic absenteeism is something that the state monitors and something that we monitor at the school level on a monthly basis.
Okay, Selma City Schools grading and promotion procedures. Throughout the school year, parents and guardians are provided oral evaluation reports such as, written or oral evaluation reports such as progress reports, report cards, conferences, and goal setting meetings. Promotion of a student from one grade level to the next is based on the individual student's achievement for that particular grade level. And it also includes regular school attendance in order to qualify for promotion. So if students are not present, it limits the chances of them mastering the necessary skills for promotion. Promotion criteria for grades 1 through 12. To qualify for promotion to the next grade level, students are required to score 60 or above for the yearly average in all academic core subjects. And those core subjects are English language arts, which is falls under reading. That's math, language, science, and social studies. All required courses failed must be repeated. Expectations for student academic performance during virtual learning. Selma City Schools offer multiple learning platforms to expand learning opportunities for our scholars. We offer virtual, blended, remediation, enrichment, dual enrollment, and credit recovery opportunities on the secondary level. One expectation that is required for success for our students must fully participate online in classes. It's great that they're showing up, but it'd be awesome if they would cut on their cameras and engage in discussions. If the teacher calls on them, be ready and willing to participate and engage, but not only participate, students must complete all assignments that are assigned by their teachers. So all assignments have deadlines, and so participation is great, but also assignments must be completed as well. So students who are not making progress due to not completing academic packets or just opting out saying I'm not going to participate or just not logging in for class at all, those students will be referred to the problem-solving team, and the problem-solving team gets together, gather the data, and look for solutions and interventions to help those students who are having difficulties in those areas. So if those things that are mentioned are occurring and reoccurring, it can definitely impact students' grades negatively. Now let's talk about progress reports. Progress reports, to me, they serve as a formative assessment for parents and scholars. Scholars and parents have an opportunity to know exactly where they are and where they stand, and they have an opportunity to improve in the necessary areas. By now, you all should have gotten a progress report because the progress reports went out Tuesday, February the 9th, and they will go out again March the 9th. And yes, we are in the third grading period. And the third grading period started January the 11th and ends March the 16th. And so also report cards, which is the summative report, that's at the end. Report cards they will go out March the 30th, 2021. And so just to emphasize the importance of attendance, attendance is extremely important. We want our students present, we want them engaged, ready to learn. And as I always say, virtual or not, teaching and learning does not stop in Selma City Schools. Attendance matters. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone who have interacted with Selma City Schools, whether at the school level or district level, you know that we're very responsive to our community and to our families. And we provide a lot of services to help our families to, of course, be successful. And so you've heard some of our procedures, but these are also some of the resources that you can expect when it comes to attendance as well as grading if ever needing assistance. Some of the attendance resources are school-based attendance incentives. Several of our schools are offering our scholars incentives to participate, and we really want all of our scholars to have the opportunity to get everything that they can out of their instructional day. So we're going over and beyond to provide the additional support through incentives. School-based small group attendance counseling sessions. Our counselors are available to assist and to work with our families if needing support with attendance, support for parents in need of community assistance. Again, this is something that we do to go over and beyond what is needed so that we're able to help our families, in turn support our scholars with getting the necessary assistance that is needed, again, to help with their academic success. Also, if ever needing support, just simply give Ms. Capers a call. She is resourceful and will work with their parents to resolve matters that prohibits the daily attendance of any scholar. So if you need assistance, simply give Ms. Capers, you want to give Mrs. Capers a call before it gets to that point and where attendance become an issue. Likewise, our attendance information, our contact information is on the screen here. You're welcome to take a screenshot of the information so that you'll have it if ever needing it. Again, we wanted to share some of the attendance proceedings as well as procedures with you so that you'll be aware of what is required for attendance and grades prior to it getting to the end of the school year. And we finding out we have a scholar in need of additional support. Please reach out to your school, contact your principal, talk to your child's teacher. And again, if additional information is needed or additional support is needed, contact Mrs. Capers as well as myself for additional assistance. And that concludes our presentation. Do we have any questions in the chat or on Facebook?
No questions yet on the chat or on Facebook, but now we are open for questions. So if you are joining us on the Zoom and you have any questions about the presentation or about anything else that you need further clarity on, please go ahead and unmute your mics and ask away or drop them in the chat and I can read them for you and we'll be here to answer them for you. So I'm checking, I'm not seeing anything. I do actually have a question And it's also, it was mentioned before in the presentation, but we did have a few people to join in late. What happens once a scholar is deemed truant?
We have a series of steps that we go through in order to determine if the scholar is truant. But the first thing that we do is reach out to our parents and have a conversation with our parents, really to find out what is going on so that we can assist and provide any necessary support that is needed so that we can stop the issue right there before we have to go through the other steps. As well as if we have a scholar who is truant, that scholar is placed on RTI for attendance. And as a team, as a school team, we were to look at, okay, what are some strategies that can be incorporated to also promote better school attendance?
Thank you. That was my main question about truancy. Anyone else that's joining us on now? I see that Dr. Williams is here. I hate to call you out, Doc, but welcome and thanks for joining us. Do you have any questions or anything that you would like to add to the presentation?
Well, just want to say that, you know, typically we look at attendance with a laser-like focus in September, but we need our babies attending school all year round. And I know our team shared some amazing research and some valid points. And so I just appreciate our families for working with us and understanding the importance of school attendance, not just at the start of the school year. I know a lot of our scholars have celebrated that 100th day, and I would be curious to know how many of them have perfect attendance, because I know we've got some that do. So thank you to our team for sharing this valuable information, and thank you to our families for participating.
Yes, thank you, Doc, and thank you, Ms. Curtis. Actually, that was going to be my next comment. So, Dr. Ford, we have something coming down the pipeline that is directly connected to attendance. What's happening starting March, April for our scholars that they really, really, really need to be here to make sure that they are excellent?
Is it spring break? Is it spring break? Oh, sorry.
It's not an age. It's not a one selection.
Not spring break,
okay.
But spring break is in March. But guys, let us really, really reinforce the need for attendance even before March, because our schools are planning testing campaigns that will help prepare and remediate our students on skills that were taught at the beginning of the school year. So for our scholars to be present every day leading up until testing, it would do our school well as help them to achieve their overall success on the assessment. But we do have testing on March 9th for our 11th graders. They'll take the ACT plus writing, and we need 100% participation on March 9th among all of our 11th graders. As well, starting on March 29th, we will offer the alternate assessment for some of our scholars. And then on April 12th, we'll start the ACAP summative. And again, we need 100% participation. Just like our state values the achievement process and want to see our scholars succeeding academically, they also want to see that that our scholars are attending school on a regular basis. And so again, testing will start in March at the high school and then in April in grades K through 8. And we need 100% of our scholars present and actively engaged in the testing process. Thank you, Ms. Curtis, for that reminder.
Yes, thank you, thank you. I see a question in the chat, but it was cut short. If you were leaving the question in the chat, if you want to present it or ask it again, that would be great. And in the meantime, I do see that we have a few of our principals on. If you guys want to chime in to add something to attendance, please do so now.
Hello, everyone. I'm not a principal, but I'm Miss Coleman, second grade teacher at Meadowview. And I just want to thank you all for having this chat and chew so that I can be clear with my parents as well, because I have been communicating with my parents about turning in work. I have about 4 students who have not turned in any work for me, and I've been giving them chances after chances. And I've been making my documentation. I have all over my house on the wall who have turned in work and who have not. So this chat and chew has really gave me a clear understanding of what I can go back and tell my parents as well. So I thank you all for having this, and I'm glad that I have already gave them heads up, because like the first 9 weeks, I don't know if I should be saying this, the first 9 weeks we was kind of lenient because that was something new for everybody. I was still turning in who was absent. I was still documenting who were not turning in work. But at the beginning of this 9 weeks, I made it clear, Ms. Coleman will not be lenient anymore. You got to turn your work in. So I had to, and I just hope they follow through, because it really hurts me, because the child, they can't drive a car to turn in their work, or they can't submit work, in the second grade on their own. So that's why I've been trying to talk to my parents as well. Look, you need to be sure you turn your child's work in. So that's that. Thank you all for this chat and chew.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Coleman. That was great. We do have a question, but before I refer to that, was there anyone else that wanted to chime in?
Yes, Miss. I'm sorry, was someone else talking?
Yes, I was going to mention this also regarding the COVID-19 promotions that we did last year. That happened last year because we had guidance from the State Department that pretty much assisted us in being able to make the decisions regarding COVID-19 promotions, administrative promotions. However, this year, all of our students must pass their grades with the minimal requirements that have been set forth by our school district.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Washington, Dr. Ford, and the team. Great information. This is Mrs. Curtis, principal at R.B. Hudson STEAM Academy. And we want to stress again to our parents, our families, how important attendance is. We want our scholars, they need to be with us every day, and we want them with us every day. Asking parents, families, please update your phone numbers. If your phone number changes, we need it. We're on the virtual platform, and communication is very, very important. Us having a way to reach you is extremely critical. Also, if your address change, if you notice, we have been mailing out a lot of information, trying to be as contactless as possible due to our current circumstances. So please update your addresses if your addresses change as well. And I just want to leave you with this quote. When students improve their attendance rates, they improve their academic prospects and chances for graduating. Instructional time is so valuable. We want them there. So please help us with this, parents. We love you guys.
Thank you again, Ms. Curtis, for sharing that information. And again, just to go back to the research, we want to keep the research in mind as well, because poor attendance can influence whether children read proficiently by the end of 3rd grade or be held back. And with the new Literacy Act, the state is requiring that we hold students back in 3rd grade if they're not proficient. And that's not something that we're looking forward to doing in Selma City, because we're going to push to ensure that all of our scholars are ready and can pass any standard that the state has set forth by 3rd grade, but attendance is a must. Our scholars must attend school.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great words. So we have a question in the chat from Ms. Tyler. Will the kids be back at the building to test, or will they test remotely? We had mentioned testing coming up, and so I know there's information coming down the pipeline to parents, but if someone wanted to chime in just to give just further guidance on that.
As of today, the information that we have received is that our scholars will be back in the building to test, but we're taking all type of precautions and will follow all CDC guidelines when bringing them back in, including testing in smaller groups, so that we'll have an A/B schedule to limit the number of students who are in the building at a time. And we'll get this information out to you as soon as possible. But if that changes regarding scholars having to come into the building to test, we'll also notify our community as soon as possible.
Thank you. All right, Ms. King, you have your virtual hand raised.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to point out, my slides, had to do with chronic absenteeism and excused and unexcused. And this is piggybacking a little bit off of Ms. Curtis. I forgot to put this out here. But one of the biggest things that people can do is just communicate with us. And like she said, having the updated phone number and the address is highly important, but also just reaching out. If your child needs to be out for some reason, that's okay. We understand things come up in people's lives and everybody doesn't have a great day every morning. And sometimes we're just late logging in, but please communicate with us. Otherwise, we have policies in place that make people very upset with us when they get letters about, truancy warnings and then having to come to different conferences and things like that. And we don't want to go that far. So if you would just communicate with us and let us know what's going on, we can always work something out with you most cases.
Thank you. And to piggyback off of that, I know that the communication has picked up across the district, but Team Selma, don't ignore our teachers and our principals. If you're getting a call here or there, consider that care. And not annoyance. That's literally, we miss being in the building, we miss engaging, but we are checking in. So sometimes that will be daily because normally we would see them daily. So don't put us on the block list. Kindly tell us if we're bothering you. But the communication both ways is what will help. So thank you. All right, so we are right at our stopping point, but if we have any other questions, feel free really quickly to drop them in the chat, both on Facebook Live or here in our Zoom call. This has been a great discussion with some great information. This will be shared again on Facebook and we will make it available on our YouTube channel. Attendance matters. So Dr. Ford and team, do you guys have anything else to add before we close out?
I just want to close out by saying thank you to all of our parents for understanding and working with us during this virtual space. We know that it has been challenging. It has been challenging for us as well, but we're doing the best that we can to stay connected. And we want to stay connected with our scholars throughout the school year. So again, as Mrs. King stated, as well as Mrs. Curtis, please connect with us, get us the info, get us your updated information, and we will definitely reach out to you if needing your support. And my last words, let's be dope, let's be dope, doing our part every day, be dope.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Continue to stay dope so we can connect sooner than later. Thank you for joining today's chat. Have a great rest of your evening, Team Selma. Thank you.
Guys.